Hello, I'm Fizzy.
And I am Wycombs.
And welcome back to another league race in the AOR PC Split 1 League. We are 2/3 of the way through the season, which means it's 5 races to go, and the run-in, I guess, starts here at the amazing Spa-Francorchamps. Chris, we are looking relatively good in the team championship. You're looking relatively good in the driver championship, despite you having to miss 2 races eventually in this season. But how are you feeling for this one?
I'm really excited for this track, really. One of my favorite tracks, I guess, on the calendar. But, you have to, I guess, just take into account that the slipstream will be horrible around this track. But, it's going to be, we will see, I guess, some fun racing. And, looking forward to it.
Fingers crossed. So let's jump into qualifying. So then into qualifying we go, and as you can see, it's pretty wet. Intermediate tires on the car, so more wet weather for us this season. We obviously love that. So yeah, trying to line ourselves up for a good lap, braking earlier than you would in a dry, I guess, into the first corner. Obviously the exit out of here is one of the most crucial parts to the whole lap. You gotta be very patient on the throttle, I guess, in these conditions, and then trying to take our route as flat as possible. It's not quite flat in the wet as it is easily in the dry, but both of us have carried a decent amount of speed through there, I think. Very equal so far in the lap as we head down into Le Camp.
Yeah, worth mentioning, I'm actually switching between the fuel mixes while you stay enriched all the time. I don't know, I just tend to do that in the wet. Going into Le Camp here, exit out of here is very, very crucial. Try to open up this corner as much as possible. A little bit of oversteer for both of us, but pretty decent, I guess. Going down into Rivage, even more tricky in the rain. I'm actually running very, very deep in that corner, which is going to lose me a little bit of more time. But and now into No Name. Exit out of here is normally very, very crucial as well. And yeah, this is the corner probably where you lost the most time, really, during all of practice. No Name, even in the rain, it looked like taking much more speed through there. Into Puhan, very tricky on the exit there as well. Really to fiddle around with the throttle. Going into the Fania chicane, also we have to be very, very patient on the throttle here. You can easily lose the car. And going down to the end of the second sector, which is into forgot the name of the corner, but this one is not flat out here as well.
Yeah, much more tricky, that one as well, in the wet, of course. I was having quite a big oversteer moment, and I think that was the main problem for me last lap, kind of oversteering out of that one. It's going to compromise my run all the way down to the bus stop. And even Blanchimont isn't flat in these conditions, so braking hard into the bus stop. You are a bit ahead on the first apex, on the second apex, and then trying to modulate the throttle once again and again, move it a little bit more drifting, and even down towards the line. I'm still kind of sliding a little bit, and you have done a 159.3 in these conditions. I've done a 159.7, so about 4 tenths between us, and P5 for you, P12 for me. I mean, are we happy with that? I'm not really happy with that.
No, not really. But especially, I was surprised, really, because we had actually a social the day before, and we had intermediate condition there as well. We actually took a 1-2 on the starting row, and we had, people like Berg and Marco and stuff like that in that session as well. Now is suddenly so much off the pace. I was a little bit worried, but also, you can maybe see, well, we definitely ran a very, very low downforce setup with also some decreased ride height, so it kind of makes sense that we weren't too comfortable in these conditions, I guess, compared to probably some others. So we will definitely have incredible straight line speed, I guess, and that will, hopefully will benefit us making up some positions in race.
Yeah, at least it's dry for the race. I mean, that's the main thing here. So we had to endure the wet qualifying, but yeah, it's going to be dry for the race. No clouds anywhere to see, so that's obviously, as usual, what we've done most practice for as well. A dry race. Oh my word, information lab. You were having some fun there with the back of Max, and you've been set of the grid.
Oh dear. Not the first time I've done this, actually. Happened to me quite a bit actually on Xbox last season for some reason. I'm not sure.
Well, everyone was doing it on Xbox. Come on.
Yeah. Oh well, happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter too much. I would suggest, at least,
Oh, your tires are going to be so much better from missing those 2 corners.
Yeah, I mean, 1% really is going to make a huge difference. I can go now, 15 laps on these tires.
Obviously, yeah. Okay. So, well, you can go to the end of the tires. You don't even need to pit, I would say. But Yeah, it's about to start the race, the Belgian Grand Prix in PC Split 1. You started from P5, lights are out, trying to get a good start, smoke absolutely everywhere as per usual. Max has gotten a good run on the outside of Streets, and you're just trying to take it easy, I think, on the apex into turn 1. No contact for you, no contact for me, despite having to leave room for Nick there, who started the position ahead of me. I got a better start on him, but he had the inside for turn 1. So yeah, both of us have stayed where we started for the time being. Max backing out of a potential move there on Streets, didn't want to go side by side through a rouge. I kind of can understand that. There's a car closing in very fast behind as well, but you've gone straight past Max because of that better run through a rouge and up to 4th place, breaking very late. Oh, wanted to play chicken with the wing again. Oh, Slick's had some big problems there through the comp, and he's gone off the track, spinning around as that's a position for me at least, as Street's having a look at Ram, who felt the need to leave him room there. But yeah, you're looking pretty good, I would say, at least pressuring these guys at the start of the race.
Yep, definitely what I wanted to make up. Well, at least one position. That's not going to help me though. Fab Racer now coming, pressuring me slightly into Puhan, running a little bit deep there. But yeah, Fanny is also not really overtaking the location, so it should be fine. But yeah, worth mentioning Streets. I think out of the top 5 or 6 or 7, Streets is the only one who started on the medium tires. That's going to be very, very interesting strategy for him in this race, really. And yeah, Berg down the lead, but I'm not really too worried about that. I'll really have to, concentrate on getting past Streets and Ram here for the time being. Exit out of here was pretty good out of Stavalo too. And Streets for some reason not really quick on the straight. And I'm going past him. Oh, that's not going to help though. And now past Ram, can I do anything into bus stop?
What has happened there, Chris?
Bye.
Are you alive?
I'm done.
Come on. It's quite sad.
Well,
it's quite sad. So yeah, you've been murdered by a massive game freeze there. So we can see it all in lovely slow motion as you get out of the car, and for the first time all season, you're not going to finish a race?
Nope.
That is not good at all. I mean, it was always going to be quite tricky in the Driver Championship anyway, with you having to miss Suzuka and Kota later on. But yeah, that's going to make it almost impossible, I would think.
Yeah, I would need, I don't know, I'd need two DNFs or something from Berg in the next few races, and this is not going to happen. He's definitely way too good, to make these not make these kind of mistakes and throw this thing away. It's not like he's done a championship here before. It wouldn't even be his first one, so I guess he's very, very experienced in that.
Yeah, it's not something you'd expect from Berg. Obviously, we can never rule anything out, but it's always a shame, of course, when things like that happen. Obviously, nothing you could have done, because we know you've had some issues earlier in the season as well with game freeze. We remember qualifying in Monaco, of course. Yeah. But yeah, this is the first time. Well, you've had a few of them in the race, of course, but nothing like this, to be honest.
No.
So.
And not in these kind of situations. It was always quite good. Oh, that's not good there from Nick. Let's actually, let's get over that. And
I'm racing actually.
Race because
I just realized that I'm still racing here, and I'm getting a position on Nick. So yeah, I was. Obviously a little bit sad on your behalf in these laps after you had your thing, but if anything, it almost made me motivated to be a bit more to try and have a good race there, to at least score some points for the team. So making that move up on Nick at the moment, but he's going to be right on me down into turn 1 on the 4th lap of the race. I'm going to go defensive slide corner cut. I didn't mean to turn in that early, but that's going to give me a bad run actually. Yeah, to be honest, cutting that corner isn't really going to help you because you get a worse exit. So Nick's just flying straight back past, and I was lifting slightly as well, just to not go side by side through a ruse, and he's sliding all over the place on the exit of it, which means I'm going to get a run on my head even before I activate DRS, and that's going to be an easy move, as Nick is getting swarmed by Nuka as well down the straight. Having a poor run up a ruse does that to you, and that's up to 9th again for a second time to me, and Nuka already right behind in the Red Bull. I think Nick actually had a slight bit of front wing damage at this point in the race from tapping Slick on lap 1, which I wasn't aware of, but yeah, that's maybe explaining why he's struggling a little bit more than we usually see from him.
You don't get friends with No Name, do you?
No.
Some absolutely horrible lie through there. Anyway.
Come on now! I've done worse.
You did. You even break for the corner in practice sometimes, so, you know. It could be worse. Anyway, it seems like the Papa Socrates, though, up ahead is not really, pulling away from you. If anything, you're really catching these guys up ahead, as Street sets are fastest up on mediums, obviously with the assist of Slipstream, I guess. I would assume so in any way. But it seems like that you're not too far behind Papa and the car ahead as well, so I guess still everything to play for, especially since you're going on to the softs in the second stint. So it's definitely going to be interesting how that plans out against the front runners, really, who are, the majority of them are on the softs.
Yeah, apart from Siege, of course. Papa and Nuka, though, around me, both on the mediums as well, so they'll be on a similar strategy. And crucially, I got DRS just about within the DRS range of Papa there, which means I'm going to be able to defend with the inside line from Nick and Nuka. Both had a much better run with the slipstream. Down into the com. But I've managed to hold on once again. So kind of crucial then for the rest of the lap, just trying to close in on Papa, who, as you said, was, it's looking like he's struggling a little bit, missing the apex there as well. So let's see if we can get a good run with the OP slipstream going through here. And Papa's actually run right onto the curb. So I'm going to try to get myself ahead. I mean, not much I can do at this point, just keeping the throttle flat out. But it seems to be enough at the moment. Don't know if Papa backed out there or if my straight line speed was just better. But either way, I'm ahead up to P8. So obviously, no slipstream or DRS for me now in the next lap, so could be tricky to keep hold of this position. We shall see. Yellow flag as well, not sure what that was for, but it seems fine at the moment. And actually, on the next lap, Papa was doing a really good job of keeping Nuka and Nick behind, so he's actually holding them up back there, and I managed to get myself out of DRS range. And as we skip on to lap 9, that was kind of the crucial part early in the race, that I was able to pull away from that massive battle I was in, and instead I could then focus on catching up to Fugitaro instead, and I was eventually able to do that. But just as I caught up to him, he's going to go into the pits. So yeah.
Lap 9, obviously the major, point to pit. Although I say that Fab, Racer, and RBK and all these kind of people were no, not RBK. Berg was still out while RBK pitted, and now lap 12. Here is Berg actually already made their pit stop, while Strees is still out, obviously on these mediums, and I think Berg might have a chance to overtake you here. I'm not too sure. Seems like that. Yeah, that was actually exactly what I was thinking.
Actually, what I didn't want.
Some of the front runners definitely went with higher downforce. There's no way Ram would have done a 58.5 with our setup. No fucking way he did that. I actually couldn't believe when I saw a 58.5 popping up on the thing, and I think he ran 5.3 wings or something like that, and I'm
maybe even 5.4.
Entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure he also ran the normal right height, which is explains literally everything what we saw in qualifying. And you're now at the end of lap 12. You're going into the pits. 10 laps on the soft shouldn't be too much of a problem, although they drop, the pace is dropping definitely towards the end of the race. So you have to keep an eye on that one. And crucially though, Nuka is still behind you. I think he pitted a lap earlier.
He did, yeah. Nuke actually gained a second or two from pitting a lap earlier, and obviously Fugitaro from pitting 3 laps earlier gained quite a bit of time, but not as much as I would have thought, as I have taken a perfect line through the com. So that's not the problem. But at least what I really want though, as you mentioned, the softs will be dropping up maybe and kind of getting more equal to the medium tire pace towards the end of the race. So I was thinking at this point that I wanted to get past Fugitaro as early as I possibly could if I was able to do that at all, and especially with Nuka right behind as well. Kind of wanted to make the move on Fugitaro before potentially getting passed by him, because that would make it even more tricky. So here we go, run through Puhon. He's going to actually defend down into Fanja chicane, which is not the usual overtaking spot, and I wasn't quite able to hold it around the outside. I was trying. I wanted to make the move around the outside there. It would have been tricky, but Fugitaro did well to defend that one. So I'm going to be close though, definitely close enough to get a nice slipstream run if I have a slipstream, because it seems okay. I'm getting because several people have left the session. As it stands, we started with a full grid actually for the first time all season.
There's definitely no slipstream. Yeah, there's definitely no slipstream, and it's even worse because you're now not even hitting 340, which is easily possible in clear conditions. But anyway, now you have to deal with that, and I guess I'm not sure if Nuka has any slipstream, but it's going to be interesting to see that. But you're going to try to make the move into La Source, although here Fugutaro will have the racing line, so he's not probably going to, you know, maintain that position. But maybe DRS makes a difference really. Up through Eau Rouge, if you can nail that corner, yeah, pretty well actually, but you're not that close actually. And it seems like Nuka definitely has some slipstream here.
That looks like he has some slipstream, unless he's running like 1-1 wings.
Yeah.
But oh, and he's gone straight up the inside of Fugutaro as well, so he's just gone past both of us. Okay, that seemed interesting, but yeah, not really what I wanted. Yeah, I must say. So that was a bit annoying.
Yep.
And
well, I was cheering you on for a dive bomb there into Rush. That was actually a good no-name corner for once. Anyway, end of that lap. Seems like that Fugutaro is actually gaining on Nuka. So that seems like that Fugutaro and Nuka have slipstream on each other, but you don't have on Fugutaro, and vice versa. Maybe not as well, because it's normally, you know, vice versa factor as well. Not a good exit for the U out of the bus stop chicane. Lap 17. Nuka starting to pull away, it seems like, at least a little bit, and Fugutaro once again running right onto that curb, which is not really gonna, you know, help him. Can you go around the outside of the Blanchimont? It's definitely gonna be very, very tricky, but you're trying it anyway. Not really planning, you know.
Yeah, I was kind of sensing that Fugutaro was struggling to keep up with Nuka at this point, so I wanted to get past him, so that I mean, I didn't know if I had a pace to catch Nuka again anyway, but yeah, if I wanted to have a chance now, if Fugutaro is going to keep struggling like this, as again I've cut the source lighter there, and again it's giving me a poor exit. So without slipstream, let's see if I'm going to be close enough with just the DRS. At least Fugutaro won't have anything either, but yeah, I think I'm not getting anything in the slipstream, so I think I'm going to be too far back, annoyingly. So it's going to be a frustrating battle. I think it's going to be much harder to overtake Fugutaro than it really should at this point.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, that's you know, the other side of the game, really. You know, if you have that glitch, it's even worse than not having. Like, there's no slipstream at all. Then, I mean, if it would be like, you know, just reduced slipstream, then it would be actually pretty cool, because that's more realistic, I guess. But not having slipstream at all is also very frustrating, because it makes, you know, overtaking pretty much impossible. Or very, very difficult. You're just relying on someone's mistakes if you have the same pace as he has.
Here we go, though.
And especially with these cars who are just so fast through corners, it doesn't make any sense that they don't have any slipstream. So
yeah. At least, though, for the first time all race really behind Fugutaro, I've gotten a properly good exit out of the source. We're really close to him now, so let's say this is potentially the chance that I need. Closing very slowly, and Fugutaro doesn't go defensive actually, so say thank you very much. Try to hold it on the inside. Fugutaro, they're holding it around the outside, so we're going to remain side by side through the next apex as well. Still side by side as we exit Lecombe, trying to leave him enough room to not squeeze him onto the gravel there. And I got now the inside, luckily for whatever the frick this corner was called again. That one, yes. And I've got the move done. Finally, if I can have a good no-name. Okay, I guess. I mean,
yes.
It's been a bit worse. So up to P8, finally making a move on Fugutaro, but yeah, I don't know really if Fugutaro does have a slipstream or not, so it could be tricky to hold on to, but this is when we'll get to know, I guess. On lap 20 now, up through a Rouge, yellow flag here. Oh, that's a car coming back onto the racing line. That's Fab Racer, who has had an absolute nightmare.
Oh dear.
So he's had a few of those this season, I guess.
Yeah. Definitely very, very fast drivers. Fab Racer, but just not much has gone his way this season. Also missed a couple of races as well. So, you know, we are now starting the final lap of the race, and you didn't lose any time to Nuka. So I guess if would have gone past Fugutaro here quicker, and it definitely would have been a chance for you to battle with Nuka towards the end of the race. Obviously, unfortunately, it didn't happen, and it seems like that Fugutaro is not really close enough to do anything really, unless he has slipstream. But I don't think he has, because he didn't close all too much really last time out. I saw him on that straight, and yeah, I think you're safe. And unless you make an absolute mistake or something like that, I think you should be settled for P7, I guess.
I'll take P7. I'm considering this battle was for P8 most of the race. Yeah, P6 probably could have been possible if I had worked the battle with Nuka a little bit better, but nothing I could do once he flew past with his slipstream. So yeah, across the line to take 6 points. You know, it felt like a pretty good race actually, because as I said, you know, I felt like P6 was the maximum. As I'm actually including a bit of a donut from Nick B, who once again didn't score any points. So,
God's sake, Nick.
God's sake, Nick, yep. So he's had another nightmare, and here we go then. Valtteri Bottas wins another race this week. So,
Wait, what?
I think Streets must have left the session very quickly after crossing the line. But yeah, so Streets actually won the race for his first race win in AOR, I think.
Yep.
Despite fighting for several on Xbox before. And yeah, obviously you down there, Pascal Wehrlein at the bottom.
He's Swiss, yay!
Yay! Pascal Wehrlein has converted to Swiss, which is at least good. But yeah, that's the championship situation now, with obviously your issue on lap 1. Berg now ahead by 4 points after you were ahead by 11 previously. So, thoughts?
Thoughts? Well, not, you know, forget the drivers. Just, you know, concentrate on the constructors, I guess.
Sure. At least, I mean, you don't have a massive gap to keep hold on P2, which is something. I mean, it's
yeah, it's pretty much impossible for me to get P1. It's pretty much impossible for me to lose P2. So I guess you know, I take another vice champion after being vice champion as well in season 10, I think it was. So I guess yeah, I will take that. And constructors, it still looks pretty good. I guess I think you just have to keep the consistency up, and I think we are on a very, very good way there.
Yeah, and hopefully you will also not have any game freezes in those final 2 races that you will do this season, and I will obviously just try to keep chipping in a few points where I can. So Mercedes scored 17 points today. I reduced that to, you know, them scoring 11 points more than us. So for the first time in a while, they've actually closed in, but still a reasonable gap for us. So hopefully we can hold on to that one. And next time we are at Monza in a couple of weeks after a break.
Yep. It's actually a break week, yeah. Well, that's a, you know, historic track, I guess. Not really a track I'd like to drive, but, you know, it's going to be a great race, I guess, once again.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, it's been a long Belgian Grand Prix, and it's going to be a long break until the Italian Grand Prix, but thanks you all for watching. Hope you'll join us for the next one as we hunt down the Constructors' Championship title. Goodbye.